And welcome back to Personal Productivity Using Technology with Dr. X. Today is the day you were all waiting for. This is the last chapter of Excel. I really enjoy Excel and I hope you enjoyed it a little bit as well. I hope you understood a lot more with all these things that we did. So today we're going to talk about what-if analysis, which allows you to see different scenarios that can happen in your life, and especially regarding your finances, even your personal finances, or projecting finances of the company that you work with and all that, that depend on a variable. What is a variable? A variable is a value that can be changed. So being able to project, predict, and analyze what if scenarios, what if this happens, what if inflation goes crazy, what if I lose my job, hopefully not. Taking into account all of these scenarios can be done with the Excel what if analysis tools by using different variables, values that can be changed in order to create your scenarios. So today what we're going to look at is, first we're going to look at one variable data tables and two variable data tables. What is a variable? A value that can be changed to see how it affects your different scenarios. So we will have a little bit of theory, and all the slides are as always in your course documents. And the theory is going to be quite useful because it is an algorithm. And what's an algorithm? Well, nothing more than a list of steps that you can use and follow. And if you follow this list of steps faithfully, you will be able to create a data table where one variable changes and you get all your cool what-if scenarios. So the first thing we have to do is list all the values that we want to substitute the variable with these values. Then enter the formulas in the first row or left column. So first row will have values of our variable, first row or left column, and then the formula that we will use for our data table will be either in the first row or the left column, whichever we didn't use first, and then create the one variable data table, format the results, and create custom number formats. So now this sounds like Greek until we do an example and follow these steps carefully. So here we go. Blackboard, course documents, Excel, and documents. We need to download the what if example. I already have this downloaded into my H drive, CS150 hybrid, Excel, what if example. And here we have a really nice example where you are shopping for cars. And if you want to shop for a car, you may have to take a loan. And this spreadsheet, as you can see in that formula bar, has got a formula in the cell B7. So this formula is the formula that we want to use, and what we want to change is B4. B4 is the interest rate of our loan. How do I know that? I went to formulas, insert function, and I looked at the rate. B4 is the interest rate, and I multiplied by the number of periods and the number of payments per period, 1, and divided by the number of periods, 12, or whatever you want, B6. So essentially, I want to change this percentage, B4, that is 4.5 in the original formula, and use different values such as 4%, 4.5%, 5%, and so on and so forth. So let's go back to the list of steps. List the substitution values in the left column or first row. So we said I want to substitute B4 with 4, 4.5, 5%. And that will be the first row of my data table. And these are the substitution values that I will have in my first row. So now I am ready to enter the formula in the first row or left column, whichever was not used before. Well, what was not used before? I used the first row to insert the substitution values. Therefore, I'm going to use the left column to enter the formula. So here's what I can do. I can copy-paste that formula. Painful. I can also escape so that I don't make mistakes. I can also use a reference to that formula, and it's the same thing as copying the formula. So with the equal sign and then clicking on the cell, or just typing equals and then the name of the cell, I create a reference to the cell. I do not copy paste, I do not type the formula, I just create a reference and it's good enough. It's like copy pasting the cell, but not just the value, the whole formula, the whole PMT formula. So as you can see now, in cell B10 I have a reference to cell B7, and in cell B7 I have my favorite formula, the PMT formula. Going back to my instructions, enter the formulas in the first row or left column. Okay, I entered the formula. Create a one variable data table. How do we do that? Next list of steps. Select entire table starting in the blank cell on top left corner. Okay, top left corner, select. Click What If Analysis in the Data Tools. See, I told you, it's easy breezy. Data, What If Analysis, Data Table. And then enter the address of the cell to be changed in the Data Table dialog box. So here is the catch. Okay, I need to understand which cell is going to change in my PMT formula. Remember which cell was holding the percentage interest rate? It was B4. So the cell B4 in my PMT formula has got to change and take the substitution values 4%, 4.5, 5. So here I have payments that have 4.5% rate, and you can see this payment is exactly the same as the one I have in the cell B7 because B4 is equal to 4.5, but I also have a payment that I will have to make every month if my interest rate is 4%. I also have a payment if my interest rate is 5%. I could also have 6%. And then my payment would be, I can use the autofill, of course, the horizontal autofill, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now leaving this out, I have my one variable data table. So the only thing you have to do is follow the steps, but the main thing you really have to understand is who is your formula. In this case, our formula was the PMT. In another case, it could be the VLOOKUP. In another case, it could be the if formula. In another case, it could be the mean formula, more formulas, accounting, future value formula. So who is my formula? B8 is my formula. So I add a reference on the left column to my formula. Who is the variable? The variable is B4. It is the percentage that changes. And where are my substitution values for this variable? The values that will show the change will be the changing values in my first row. And that's about it. In the two variable data table, the process is very similar, and I have a list of recommendations. So use the top row for one variable substitution values. So you may have figured already B4 will be the first variable that I want to substitute. And then going to my formula, insert function, I would also project different payments for different loan payments. So here in the first column, I have the second substitution values, the second variable values. And who is the variable? In this case, it's B3. So B4 and B3 are going to be changing in my two variable data table that I'm currently highlighting. Where am I going to have my formula? Apply the custom number formula and apply your formula in the top left corner. And of course, you know what I have to do, equals, and the reference to my PMT formula. Select the data table from the top left corner up until the end. Go to data, what if analysis, data table. Now, who is the variable that takes substitution values from the row? B4, the percentage, B4. Now, who is the variable that takes values from the column, the first column, the left column of my two variable data table? B3. That's the cell that holds the loan amount. So if you do that, you're calculating multiple payments with different interest rates and different loan amounts. Two variables, two values that are changed. Huge recommendation. Once this video is over, maybe you'll need to watch this a second time. I would recommend for you to delete whatever you've done in this first spreadsheet and try this on your own. Maybe you should try it on the next day when you will have forgotten a little bit this video. So huge recommendation to repeat the steps on your own so that you figure out and understand who's the variable, who's the formula, and which row and column you're using in your data table to create your what if analysis data table. That's it for now, and we will continue on the next video with goal seek and scenario management. See you next time.